Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, Max. How about you?
I'm doing great because it's been a long time since we had an in-person pod.
Actually, it has been, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a fat minute. We are excited to be back. And there's been some crazy NBA news happening, especially with the Denver Nuggets. Some big trades. Free agency has been a frenzy. Caden, let's hop right into it.
Yeah, free agency officially kicked off yesterday. We had already seen some other moves that we will get to, but we are going to start with our team, the Denver Nuggets, where the first big piece of news we saw was just last night. The Michael Porter Jr. trade happened, Max. MPJ is no longer a Denver Nugget. He has to go play in Brooklyn, which sucks for him, but the Nuggets and the Nets did complete a trade that sent Michael Porter Jr. and a 2032 unprotected first-round pick to the Nets for Cam Johnson.
Caden, this one hurts because, as you know, I've been a Michael Porter Jr. fan from the get-go.
We both have, dude.
Of course, we both have. That is the shooter. If injuries didn't, if his back, Caden, was just a little bit better,
then he never would have fell to the Nuggets at 14.
Correct. But if the injuries just didn't linger on Caden, and he just never quite figured it out, right? Could get hot. Could drop the three like no other. Defense started getting better. Was attacking he improved so much as a player, but never swing the rock. Porter Jr. is gone. We saw, after a poor struggles throughout the playoffs this year as well, kind of was writing on the wall that he may be gone this offseason. And the move was done, unprotected first in, half a decade or half a decade.
Half a decade.
We'll see what happens there, Caden. But the Nuggets, in return, are getting Cam Johnson, which is going to be a fresh new face in the building, which is exciting, and I think was a good move.
Yeah, I think this was a very good move for Denver because you knew they had to trade either Michael Porter Jr. or Jamal Murray in order to create the cap space, be able to stay under luxury tax, all the aprons, in order to improve their depth, which was the big thing that they were lacking. And in this trade, you do that where Porter this year is making about $38 million. Next year, he's making over $40. Cam Johnson this year is only making $21.5 million. Next year, he's only making $23 million. So you're saving $17 million this year, like $18 next year. Big for them. And like I was talking to my instructor at school a little bit about it last night because it happened like right when I got to school.
Nice.
We were both kind of agree. Like it's kind of like Cameron Johnson's more like a more consistent Michael Porter Jr. in a way. Where you saw last year in his career year with Brooklyn, just shy of 19 points per game, shot 39% from the three-point line. So that should be a big addition there for this Nuggets offense. Slide him in where MPJ used to be over there at that three. And now I think that's a good fit. Like you said, sucks to lose Porter. He definitely, in my eyes, played his best season of his career last year. I know I said it a lot on the pod. I'm going to say it again. He finally learned he was a 6'10 wing who's going to have the size advantage almost every time. So maybe drive to the rim, get to the free throw line.
Yeah, he's doing good.
And he did that a lot more last year. He was healthy. This was like his most healthy season of his career. Like he looked great, was big for the Nuggets. It's just with his contract, you're already paying Jamal Gordon. You're already paying Jokic. He's up for a giant contract extension as well this offseason. That you needed to do this to come in and make some moves. I always was on the camp that you had to trade Porter over Jamal. I just think that two-man is one of the best in the game still between Jamal and Jokic. So
can't break up that.
Can't break up that, exactly. So yeah, you get out of Porter, you give up your only tradable first-round pick, which you knew that was going to have to be a kicker in there for someone to eat that Porter contract.
It's the money.
But I think it's well worth it. You get Cam Johnson, and then like 15 minutes after that, Brucey B's back, Megs! Brucey B on the vet minimum.
The very minimum, Cade. And that's just to go show you why the Nuggets made this trade, right? Needed to get under those aprons like you mentioned, Cade. But it's a money situation, right? You're saving so much more that allows you to go out and sign Bruce B for the vet minimum, which is even better for you. It's just win-wins, Caden, for the Nuggets. And then today...
What? You don't want to talk anymore about Brucey B?
I mean, what do you want to talk about him?
Was a big catalyst, in the championship run.
Yeah, he was.
Then, hey, props to him for getting the bag from Indiana.
But
it always seemed like, I was just going to say, it always seemed like he never wanted to leave Denver. He always wanted to come back. We saw Brucey B show up in Denver for playoff games. Like, he still wanted to be here. For him to finally be a free agent, he's like, yeah, shoot, I'll come back. Vet minimum, sure. I just made over $40 million over the last couple of years. I'll love to come back, be a contributor off this bench. I think it's great. But yeah, now you can go into what
it is. No, but it's good depth there too as well, Caden. And that's the big thing that this team has been lacking. That's what, all the ownership and front office has been saying this offseason is we need depth. We're not looking for superstar acquisitions. We just want better improvement coming off the bench. And then you go out and get Jonas Valanciunas, Caden.
This move's awesome. I don't know how the hell this got done. I don't know how the hell the Kings accepted this. But the Nuggets get Jonas Valanciunas, has 2 years left on his deal. He's only making about $10 million a year each year. And they get rid of Dario Saric, who is unplayable. Like, this was a win-win on this trade. Sucks if you're a Kings fan. You want nothing to do with Dario Saric. You would much rather Big Val on your team. But instead, the Nuggets get a true backup center. You don't have DeAndre Jordan have to be a backup now. And, I don't know exactly what the plan is for Deron Holmes now, because I think he was drafted as a center. Was supposed to be the backup last year. I do like Deron Holmes. It'll be interesting to see what his minutes look like this year. Maybe he slides more to like a power forward. Maybe the 4 off the bench. You have P1 go to the 3, Strother, Brucey B, or whatever.
But that's the things. You have options.
You have options.
Now, finally, that's what this team is.
It's not just here's Russ, Strother, P. Watt, DeAndre Jordan, maybe some Jalen Pickett, Trey Alexander, Hunter Tyson.
Yeah, it was just struggling, right? And that's kind of where this Nuggets team got beat in the playoffs. When you saw Caden, when Oklahoma City was able to go on these runs, when Jokic is off the court, when Murray's off the court, and your bench isn't able to produce and come up and keep them close enough, and they're getting down double digits, it makes it hard, right? Got out. They've done what they said they wanted to do in free agency, and as a Nuggets fan, you got to be pretty happy.
Yeah, and Big Val is still a good center in the league. Like, he's still a starter caliber type 100%. Of center where last year about 11 points per game, little over 7.5 boards. Like, that's exactly what you're looking for. And if he's coming in maybe only playing 18, 20 minutes a game, depending on whatever it is, that's perfect. He's going to come in, be just better than what a 50-year-old DeAndre Jordan is.
Well, and it takes more load off Nikola Jokic because, like you said, he could play those more extended minutes. If Jokic's, not feeling good, he needs to rest a little, he could play a starting role for a night. He has that experience, he has that skill, and he could turn it on for a night if he needs to. You know what I'm saying, Kate? That's what's so nice about this move and the versatility you get from having a true backup center. That's really going to be beneficial for Nikola Jokic.
Exactly. He's not going to have to play 40 minutes a game next year to keep the team alive.
Correct.
They have some depth.
Let him play the clutch moments.
Exactly. Now, I'd say the Nuggets kryptonite, I think we move on to them next with the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've re-signed some players. They've lost some players. We'll start with the extensions because then it'll move on to something else. But first off, before the start of free agency, Naz Reid, 5-year, $125 million extension to stay there in Minnesota. I think that's a pretty good deal. He's only making $25 million. Naz Reid's a good center. I don't know if it's just Nuggets blinders, but it seems he's just a true Nuggets killer. He'll come in, bank in 3 threes, it seems like every single game, and just kind of dominate off the bench for them. Now, he got his bag, and he's shown why over the last couple of years that he deserves that.
Exactly.
The other move, then, which I think was a little more peculiar, a little more interesting, was Julius Randle. He had a player option for about 30, I think it was 32 mil, declines that, and then the T-Wolves bring him back on a 3-year, $100 million extension.
A little more money.
It seems like a little bit of a overpay in my eyes for someone like Julius Randle when he had a player option, even if he declines. I don't know if he's worth 3 for 100.
It could be Caden, but it could also be like you want to extend that cap out on the back end of that deal and, just restructure the moves for this year because picking that up could have been more debt to the cap this year. They always got weird things that go on with these deals right behind the scenes, and maybe it's just more, security with Julius Randle. Maybe you don't just want him for a year. Maybe you do see him being on the team a little more long-term as you try to get Anthony Edwards and company up to par ready to go and compete for a championship. Because at the end of the day, that's what the Timberwolves feel they have is a championship caliber team and a championship caliber superstar in Anthony Edwards. You just got to continue to build and grow and then see what comes of it. Although they're obviously in the stacked West, which doesn't do them any favors.
Yeah, I know. I agree with what you're saying. It's also like it would have been weird if you trade away like your franchise cornerstone in Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle, and then him only be there a season. I understand that doesn't look great optics wise or anything. It's just I don't know. I mean, he did improve throughout the season. It looked like started being less of what we saw in New York, more of like a full team type of player, do what it takes to win. And he did help them a lot throughout the playoffs. So I do understand it from that. It just seems like a little bit of an overpay in my eyes for someone like Julius Randle.
Correct. And then, he's a big name as well. So other teams could be, have had a bigger asking price, and they just have to compete with the market, Caden, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then the other thing that they ended up losing is their best defensive wing, or one of, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, little, I guess, flip-flop. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker goes to the Atlanta Hawks on a 4-year, $62 million extension. That sucks for the Timberwolves. I really like what the Hawks are doing this offseason, Max.
Caden,
I'm buying into the Atlanta juice a little bit right now.
Yeah, that was a really solid pickup for them. You talk about someone who earned their pay, and throughout that playoffs, Alexander Walker definitely did that, right? He showed that he's able to guard, some of the best players in this league and do it at a high level, and that's why he went out and earned his contract. And like you said, the Atlanta Hawks are now making some noise trying to put a team together, Caden.
Yeah, speaking of the Hawks, which kind of what I was going on with, or I said we'd end with this move where they, right after me and Max really recorded our trade episode last week.
We literally said there's going to be some big more trades soon, guys, and then right away.
A couple hours later, we get the 3-team swap with Kristaps to the Hawks, Terrence Mann going to Brooklyn, George Niang go over to the Celtics, first-round pick in there as well. The Hawks, I think, are making a great move there where you get off the Terrence Mann contract. He's making 15 and like a half mil, which is about 14 mil too much for the type of player he's been playing like the last season and a half-ish after he got that extension from the Clippers. You're able to move off that. You get to bring in Tingus Pingus.
Yeah.
Where I know the end of the season was weird with Kristaps, where he had that illness in March and it lingered for 3 months. We saw him not be able to breathe during the playoffs, had to come off the bench because he wasn't able to play those extended minutes, extended runs. But he said he's all good now. He's back to being healthy. And now you're going into Atlanta where you already, you're never going to be like an elite defensive team with Trae Young as your point guard because he's just such a negative there. But you already have someone like Dyson Daniels, who was a DPOY conversation last year at the guard position. You add now Nickeil Alexander-Walker to really help that backcourt. And now you're bringing in Kristaps Porzingis as your center. You get rid of Clint Capella. He signed back with the Rockets, which that's kind of cool. But
yeah,
now you have Kristaps, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You signed Luke Kennard as well, who's been just one of the better pure three-point shooters in the league over the last couple of years. They're making some good moves. I think their draft was pretty good as well. That I like what the Hawks are doing.
Good points there, Caden, with the Hawks, like you said. And they're in an East that's wide open. We've talked about that. You get, a couple players who've had this playoff experience now, who've been in these big moments. You talk about Kristaps Porzingis coming over. He's been in Celtics winning culture. He understands what it takes. You get these players, Caden, who've been in these locker rooms, who've been in these type moments. It goes a lot more than people recognize on the surface of just bringing the big name, right? It's about what are you able to provide to this team that the other person couldn't, other than just your play on the court. And that's why I think this move was so good for them. You can talk about the Celtics. They're also getting back another starter within their lineup. They're kind of shaped out their starting five now, going off the Jason Tatum injury. They're rounding out pretty well. It's going to be interesting to see what that team turns out to be. They're kind of, riding on some expectations there with Anthony Simons, but it's going to be interesting.
I've seen reports that they might even try to look to move Anthony Simons after.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, I think he could be a good fit for that team.
I like it. We talked about that in the last pod, but we're going to have to see what happens.
And now another team I want to talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies, another Western Conference team, because they've been making some moves where Jaren Jackson Jr. got his big deal, his Supermax. Yeah. 5-year, $240 million extension. if you wanted to keep him, this is what you had to give him. DPOY winner just a couple of years ago. He plays great defense, can give you 20, 25 points a night. Just an all-around really good power forward, one of the better ones we have in the league. I think that's a good move for Memphis to be able to keep one of their best players. Actually, their best player. I'm not calling Ja their best player.
Well, yeah, Ja hasn't been on the court.
And even when he hasn't looking like that same before a lot of the suspensions and injuries and stuff. That their best player in Jaren Jackson Jr., keeping him around long term, I think, is big for Memphis.
Like you said, Caden, he's been the anchor of that franchise with Ja being out and off the court issues and injuries and, all the above. We're not going to knock him while he's already been down, but he's been the consistent man there, and he's been really giving the identity to this Grizzlies team. He's been keeping the grit, the toughness, the edge to this team that they've kind of, swayed about. Sometimes they're a tough team. Sometimes they think they're able to compete. But a lot of the times they're getting whooped around and they're getting knocked down by these upper tier teams. He's really the one who's kind of the mediator to that and giving them a better reputation than they really deserved over these last couple of years.
Yeah, and then a player that I thought they'd actually probably end up losing in free agency, they're able to bring back Santi Aldama on a 3-year, $52.5 million deal. And he really kind of broke out last year with a lot of the injuries that team was dealing with. He was getting a lot more run, especially in the starting lineup. And he showed he could be a very valuable NBA player. Get him back. What is that? About a little over 17 and a half a year. I think that's great for someone like Santi Aldama, bring him back into this team. The only thing is now that with the Jaren Jackson Jr. extension, with the Santi Aldama extension, they already made the Desmond Bane trade, but in that trade came in was Cole Anthony, and it was reported last night that the Memphis Grizzlies and Cole Anthony's representatives are working toward a resolution that allows Memphis to create the necessary cap space to renegotiate and extend Jaren Jackson Jr. while giving Anthony the opportunity to find his next destination. So it seems like one of the main pieces you get for the trade of Desmond Bane with Orlando, besides obviously the 4 first-round picks, the main player you got in that trade, Cole Anthony, he's never going to suit up for the team. It's going to be you come in, it's like, yeah, we like you, but Triple J needs his extension. We like Santi Aldama better than you, so now Cole Anthony's got to get moved once again.
It's going to be interesting to see where he lands as well, Caden, because that's an interesting piece to the puzzle. That's it's an intriguing piece because you can get decent value for him if you find the right suitor, right? And that's what it's all about, is finding who's the person who's going to want to pay the price and, see what kind of deal they can come up with that.
Yeah, and actually there's one more move the Grizzlies made, which I didn't even know about until now. I think it's a great move. They were able to bring in Ty Jerome on a 3-year, $28 million deal with a player option that last year. And I think that's a really good move for Memphis. You get a true, good backup point guard in here now behind Ja for when he's either missing games or stuff. You could slide him into the starting lineup if needed. Ty Jerome really, was great off the bench for that Cavaliers team that was first in the Eastern Conference last year. Being a good backup point guard, you could show he can give you valuable minutes. That's just another thing. I think the Grizzlies, with that move, JJJ, Aldama, they're making some good moves this offseason so far.
They definitely are, Caden.
Now, we got some more just kind of other stuff, which this one I think is kind of crazy. Luke Kornet got a $41 million deal over 4 years from the Spurs. I know Luke Kornet had some good minutes for the Celtics last year. But $10 million a year over 4 years for Luke Kornet seems wild to me. That's just something I would throw out there.
If you're the Spurs, right, you still got young players on your team. You still got that young money, Caden. You can splurge a little bit. And maybe that's what it kind of takes to get someone on your team and trying to buy into the program of a what if. That Western Conference is tough, Caden. Yeah. If you want to really sell that you're going to be able to compete, you might have to throw in a couple coins as well.
That is true. And now the next team I think we should go into is the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll start that with the first move they made where they let Brook Lopez walk, which I was not ready for last night. Brook Lopez goes to the Clippers on a 2-year, $18 million deal. I like this for the Clippers because we saw Zubac take a big step last year. Him and Harden. I know I love to say Jamal and Jokic have one of the best two-mans in the game. Zubac and Harden is right up there as well. And now you get a stretch 5 and Brook Lopez who come off the bench, give you 10 points, 4 boards, couple threes a game. Just be a good stretch 5 coming off the bench.
With experience, right? With
a lot of experience. That's great.
And Exactly, and you talk about this Clippers team, Caden, who's always just a couple players too. And we saw what that depth did when Zubac was out. The Nuggets were able to take advantage of that, right? And James Harden had some scorching games in those playoffs where he's attacking the cup. He looked like prime James Harden, right? Explosive, still attacking that rim, still deadly from the 3-point. You can't give him space. And if Zubac continues to elevate the game like they anticipate he will, the Clippers will be right back up there competing again in the playoffs. And the West is so stacked.
Yeah, and they were able to extend Harden 2 for another year. He declined his player option. They went 2 for 81.
Yep.
So that team's looking good. It's running into form. But the Bucks, they lose Brook Lopez. And then this morning,
waving
a move I was not even close to expecting. I thought this guy was a one-teamer, Nikola Jokic type, probably Giannis, Dirk, like those type, like not obviously to the level, but players who are going to spend 12, 15 years with one franchise. Miles Turner's no longer a Pacer, Max. After 10 years in Indiana, because he got the bag from Milwaukee. 4-year, $107 million deal with the Bucks. And in the corresponding move to create the cap space, the Bucks are waiving, not even trading, just waiving Damian Lillard and stretching the remaining $113 million on his contract in order to acquire Miles Turner.
Ken, this move sucks for Damian Lillard. Coming off that torn Achilles, he's gonna miss, this whole year anyway. The only thing it does for him now is you do have the flexibility to go out and choose your next destination while you're rehabbing.
That men in Denver?
Now, Caden, you understand I would own every single Damian Lillard jersey in Nuggets colors, right? That's obviously been one of my favorite players since we've started this podcast, Caden. I've said that 1,000 times. I love Dame Dollar.
You got the Blazers hat.
I got the Blazers hat. I got the Dame jerseys. Like, that was my guy. I thought he was going to spend forever in Portland and talk about Miles Turner. But it sucks that he has to go, and that this was the ugly end, which you thought him and Giannis could have been a dynamic duo. Never really got to see the full potential of that because of injury, which sucks. But Miles Turner is a great addition to this team, and if you're going to lose Damian Lillard, that is exactly the player you go and pick up and add, as you just saw what he was able to do during that Pacers playoff run.
Except for in the finals.
Except for in the finals. Right. But as I said, playoff run, it's a full four different series. But that's what you have to go out and do, and it sucks that it has to be Dame Lillard as a casualty. I know Giannis was pretty upset about it as well, but they got to keep making moves. We've seen this Bucks franchise ever since they won the title. They haven't been afraid to move on from their championship-winning coach. They haven't been afraid to move on for players that have been long established. Brook Lopez gone, Dante DiVincenzo. We've
Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday. So many different change around in this franchise. They're not afraid to trash it and start again. They know that you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, and you could always be competitive with him, and that's kind of their strategy moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point where you still have a top 3 player in the world. Like, I'm not bumping Giannis out the top 3 yet.
No.
I think it's Jokic, probably Shea at 2, and then Giannis at 3 as the top 3 players in all of basketball. So, yeah, when you have that level of player, you always think you have a chance. And we've been saying this whole time how tough the Western Conference is. The East is wide open.
Yeah.
Especially next year where no Jason Tatum. Celtics have to do a little bit of a fire sale too to remain under the second apron.
The Pacers are
Cavs,
blown apart.
Who knows if the Cavs are even going to be able to be like they were last year. Yeah, no Halliburton for the Pacers. Now no Miles Turner. Magic have been making some moves. I like this Magic team next year.
You've been liking the Magic team for a couple years.
Yeah, I'm starting to drink the Kool-Aid in Atlanta. But now the Bucks.
Go drink that Atlanta Kool-Aid, Caden. Hey, good for you.
But yeah, now the Bucks, you still have Giannis. Sucks that, like you said, that Damian Lillard is the casualty here, but getting someone like Miles Turner,
Denver, baby.
It is an upgrade of Brook Lopez. I mean, you could just tell him the difference of contracts. 2 years, $18 million, 4 years for $107. But Miles Turner is still a very good big. He can play some good defense. And he's a stretch 5 as well. Like, he can knock down your threes. I know a lot of people probably have the finals in their head where he was a straight brick from deep the entire series. But Miles Turner can be a stretch 5, give you 18, 20 points a game, 1.5, 2 blocks, play some good defense as well. He's a great piece for this team. Line him up next to Giannis. They got some other players around him who can do big stuff. Yeah, hey, we're just throwing it out here. It'll probably never happen. People will still give Dame a good bit of chunk of change to be on.
Yeah, he's going to get some bread.
Even though, he's still getting paid from Milwaukee. But if somehow, some way, Damian Lillard wanted to team up with Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon.
Kicking their ass for so many years.
After that, I would love that move. But either way, I think the Bucks, like we said, it sucks it comes with Dame, but adding Miles Turner is huge for this team and gives them just another little boost in a wide open Eastern Conference going forward into this next season.
100%, Caden. It's going to be interesting. So many crazy moves have already happened within this NBA offseason. There's going to be so much stuff within the next 3 days as well. By the time this podcast
one more thing we're coming out with, because Jakob Poeltl got a 9-figure deal.
Oh, yeah.
Jakob Poeltl got a 4-year, $104 million extension with the Raptors. I don't know what's going on in Toronto. Masai Ujiri's out now as your GM. You trade for Brandon Ingram. Who knows how long he's going to be on the team. You still got Scotty Barnes. I like Scotty.
I was just going to say, I was waiting.
Scotty's good.
I like Scotty.
Scotty's good, but RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, I don't know. Jakob Poeltl last year, 14.5 points a game, just shy, 9.5 boards. He's a good center. It's just crazy in my eyes to see him getting over 100 mil.
That's funny, Caden. With that being said, we thank you all for listening to this NBA recap episode. Make sure to follow because there's going to be a lot more news. We're going to be touching on some NFL free agency stuff here soon. College ball here soon. I'll be in Dallas for Big 12 Football Media Day, so we guys got you some coverage from that.
Look out. Yeah, that'll be next week, probably on Friday.
Yeah.
We'll have a pod coming out, be football-related, Mexican, and go in to what he heard and what he saw during Big 12 Media Day. Yes. We might just do a little Big 12 little preview probably that week with him talking on to that.
So exciting.
Look out for that next week as well. Make sure you guys like this video if you did enjoy. Leave a comment down below. What do you think of all the moves? How excited are you for the moves the Nuggets are making or your favorite team, unless maybe you're the Raptors signing Jakob Poeltl to that. Who knows what's going on there? Make sure you turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload of the Untouchaballs podcast, and share this with your friends, family, strangers, neighbors, anything like that.
Most definitely, we appreciate y'all. We thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next time.